Okay, perfect. Well, we'll start over. So just to maybe shed a little more light on the announcement. Going back to when we started, obviously, people have been there for a really long time. I know there's been a lot of anticipation with TG, and when we started, we thought TG would probably come a little sooner than what it has now. But when we start looking more and more at what it actually takes to do a proper TG, it's very clear that usually the missing piece is one, the demand side, which we're now, now we are 88% versus, the market leaders in terms of coverage, which means we're actually able to now start onboarding customers way faster, which is really exciting. We also have multiple new products launching during Q1 and some major customer conversations that are rolling in. So we wanted that to have a chance to happen before TG, to have a really, really strong demand side. And secondly, it's actually extremely difficult to navigate the exchange and market maker aspect, because you have to be really careful to not sign with people that are being extremely predatory and extractive from the project. And when we've been looking at a lot of these other projects launching, it's just most of them kind of fail pretty quickly. And while we understand that waiting is obviously really frustrating, we appreciate everyone here putting in a lot of work, time, and effort to help us get to where we are. We thought, okay, well, we're really not ready to launch at this time. We initially thought maybe we should launch in November. We weren't ready. We needed a little more time, but we're close. We thought, how do we do something meanwhile? We saw there's people having, hosts lined up all over the world. We know people have spent maybe a lot of time, effort, and money on this. So we wanted to figure out, is there a middle ground? So we thought, well, let's do some type of conversion where people can at least get out some value if they want. And how to determine the value was essentially, we looked at where is the market? What can we do financially at this point? And that's how we came up with the conversion rate. We allocated $400,000 for people that want to convert. And we're sorry we're pushing. It's just that we're not ready, and we will do a disservice to everyone that's in here by launching now, because there's a few last key pieces that we're putting into place that are extremely close. And we made a decision. It was a super hard decision. I mean, we've been super focused to getting ready by now. And it just, at the last minute, we just realized, like, this is the wrong decision. So that's why I made it. Obviously, I'm happy to answer any questions, give more clarity. I understand some people are maybe okay with it. Sure, some people are maybe, this is not what they wanted. I understand that as well. But we did our best to make a decision that we felt like was fair, based on where we are now, and would put us in as good a position as possible when we go to launch here shortly. And Mike, I don't know if you want to add anything on or miss anything, but otherwise we can start going through the questions. And I wanted to highlight, this is completely voluntary. No one is forced into doing this, and no one is forced into doing a certain amount or any at all. It's just we wanted to give the option. So how it will work is that all the eligible stations that are 15,000 tokens, and we put that just based on, we did an analysis of how long most people have been in the project and what level of token earnings they have. We wanted to mainly, do this for people that have been in here for a really long time, because they've been waiting and they've been supporting. So that's how we set the level. And all the people that are eligible will see a banner and a button pop up on their dashboard. And you just click. You can decide what amount, if any, you're wanting to use. And then we'll leave it open for 10 days. And we're going to obviously email everyone as well. But you have the time to decide if you want to participate or not. And then after that, we're going to start executing the transfers. And to buck up, where this has nothing to do with market timing. Like, I couldn't care less if the market is hot or cold. This is only based on business, like where we are as a business and where we want to be by the time we launch. Like, the market can go up or down, but if our fundamentals are where they need to be, then the market doesn't matter.
And real quick to busy exec, your question is, are we going to burn the tokens? Well, these aren't tokens. Obviously, you've been getting rewards in the beta phase during DevNet, and while those do convert 1-to-1 after TG, they're not tokens at this point. So we are redeeming your points for USDC. So there's no token to burn.
Yeah, and I think to further answer Buck up on the thing is, like, I built 8 businesses before this one, and never done a bit Web3. Web3 is really challenging because you have so many aspects to it. One, you obviously have the business side, and if you look at a traditional business, usually it takes a few years to scale to maturity. And when you look at a project, to really have a solid impact, the demand side has to be much higher than you think. Like if you have a project and it's like a few $1,000s here and there, that's not good enough. But then when you add the Web3 side, you obviously have to launch a token because you have to bring value back to the people building with you. And balancing where the business needs to be fundamentally with the time it takes to launch the token is tricky. And I think the expectations, which is not unreasonable, because I understand everyone here is, we've been going now for 2 years. It's a long time. I get it. Like 2 years is a long time. But it's just most projects launch prematurely, which is why they all fail when they launch. And this is not a guarantee that we will be going up or down or sideways or whatever, but you have a much better chance of having a sustainable business and performance if your fundamentals are solid. So yeah. And TG, like, again, I feel starting to feel like an idiot because we've kind of announced like we think it's going to be this date and this date. If Q1 2026 feels really good, not Q2, because we're not far off. It's just like we weren't quite ready. So I'm gonna go back up to the top and start answering questions one by one. And you keep adding on questions, I'll get to it. So the first question that came in was Tiki Cow, who asked, what do we think the impact of 4D Sky will have on the project and viability? I don't think it's going to have a negative impact on our viability. I think the focus areas are slightly different, and we have some pretty big things in the works that are going to be announced before too long. I don't know too much about 4D Sky. I've met James. He seems like a very nice guy. I think they have a pretty cool use case. And I think when it comes to this space, it's not like you can't be more than one. We're doing a little different type of businesses. We have different business models, and I think we can coexist and maybe even just collaborate. I think we're operating in a little different segments. But I do wish him all the best, but I don't see him having any impact, whether neither good nor bad, on us. And then the project asked, when is TG planned? I cannot give the exact date because, again, I feel kind of dumb, saying something, but it's for Q1 2026.
So real quick, I'm just going to throw this out. You see a lot of projects go to TG and they haven't built up a revenue stream. They have no utility for the token. They launch, and I think everybody's seen what happens after that. You've seen the chart. I think the only way that true DPIN projects are going to succeed, or even a lot of crypto projects succeed, is to go back a little bit to traditional business fundamentals and build up your revenue stream, create the demand, so that way you can turn that around into profit. In this case, that means, the buyback and burn, potentially better utility for the token. It's very challenging for a normal brick and mortar or traditional business even to go to profitability within, say, 12 months, 24 months. It's generally a longer term outlook, and their goal early on is just to start breaking even, not to be in the black, into the red, I mean, and move into the black. So their goal is not necessarily, I need to create profit. I would love it, but I just need to stop burning my resources. And I think a lot of deep end projects focus more on just trying to get out there, get the publicity out, get a whole bunch of people interested in the project, and you don't have anything behind the scenes to hold the house up. It's like a house without a frame inside, and you're just waiting for a big gust of wind to knock you over.
Yeah. And Sir Boolean said, and I think, obviously there's been issues with the Hyfix hardware. We are pushing Hyfix to get some information here on what they can do, but I have no information right now. Sir Boolean also said it doesn't make sense that we're optionally giving a reward conversion to early users with the value you're assigning. So, it's $400,000 we're allocating to this. We don't force anyone to do it. We don't know where we will launch or where we'll go after launch. This is just an option for people that maybe been there for 2 years, accumulated a lot of tokens. Maybe they want to get some value out. Again, it's only an option, and this is what we felt like was fair and what fit into how our business is right now. And in my opinion, $400,000 is quite a lot of money.
Yeah, and we'd prefer. I mean, if 0 people participated in this, I would consider that a win as well, because it means the community is looking for TG, is looking for long term. But we understand there's some people, and we've had internal discussions. There's people that are running hosted stations in very difficult environments that have costs based on that they would like to be able to continue to host there, but they're finding difficult. This is an opportunity, optionally or voluntarily, if they want to extract a little bit and, kind of offset that expense, that's up to them.
Yeah. And Cello said, thank you so much, Cello, for the kind words. He also said he wished that the information had not been announced so shortly before the AMA. I agree. Sorry about that. We can definitely do a follow-up stage before too long for people to actually digest and come with more questions. Probably would have been better to give a few more hours heads up on the announcement. So feedback taken definitely there.
We were actually, someone asked earlier, I saw a post like, did AI write the announcement? Trust me, humans wrote that announcement, and it was a lot of time put into making it just right. And we even had tweaks right before we posted. So on the flip side, Cello, you don't want to put it out too far in advance, because then there's no chance to have this conversation we're having now and clear things up. We intend to send out an email to all participants who have earned any rewards or generated any rewards. And this is a good opportunity for us to figure out if we need to change any of the wording or alter it or whatever prior to sending that out.
Yeah. And then Massacre asked if we always wanted to do this 50% redemption, or is it new? So no, I mean, our intention was to launch TG, and then when we realized that we need a little more time, we didn't just simply want to say, hey, we're pushing again, sorry. We wanted to at least give an option where we feel like, okay, people have been in here a long time. We really do appreciate the community. And it's, like Mike said, people have hosted and spent a lot of time and money. And some people have earned a lot of tokens, especially the very, very early people. We just wanted to give this as an option. So it came up as like, look, like if we push again, there needs to be a middle ground where we give some type of option for people to take. So that's how we came up with this. Yeah, let's see where I think I've answered some of these already.
I think we mentioned in there also that in the post, I think it was still in there, that this is kind of unique. I don't know that any other project has done this up to now. So we're learning as well. Like this, hopefully this is great and everybody understands and people take advantage of it if they need to. But it's going to be a learning experience. I'm sure somebody else from other people from projects will be watching this and seeing if this is something that can an advantage to them moving forward, or if this was, not well received. We're hoping for the best. Our hearts were in the right place.
Yeah. And Tiki Cow asks, what commercial interest have you seen for the data? So obviously the public customers we've announced is Korean Airlines, Spire Global, Droneport. We have some good announcements coming out here shortly as well, which is another reason we wanted to wait with TG, because we think those going to be pretty powerful. But after we reached about 80% coverage versus the competition, we've seen a significant uptick in customer interest and customer onboarding, simply because majority of customers, and we kind of knew this from day one, that majority of customers need us to have very close to or global coverage for them to be able to utilize the data, or it doesn't really serve a purpose. So now we're very, very close. We forecast reaching the coverage level of the other people by Q1, which is also another aspect. So it's looking pretty good right now, but we need these additional, couple of months ish to execute on some of these things. So kind of answer Tachyon, yeah. So Q1. Chemistry thinks it's indefinitely. It's not, but I understand the frustration in the push. But yeah, we didn't start this to never launch it, but we also want to launch it correctly. And Big Rick, in the announcement, if you scroll down to the second half, you will see it, the ratio. So the lifespan of the satellite, actually it's NDA, so I cannot tell you, unfortunately, but it's up there, validating stuff. Let's see where we are. Yeah, Clockhawk answer, thank you. The Prodigy, can I detect the small farm planes with the station? If you're in the US, probably not right now, because I'm probably on 978. If it's another area of the world, probably. Mike, if you see a question you want to answer, you can feel free to jump in. I'm just reading through here.
Yeah, just as a note, Prodigy. So like some of the GA, the light aircraft, some of the owners do upgrade to ADS-B. Some of them don't, because they're not forced to in the US by regulation. So at least in the US, there's definitely a split. It's a very small percentage though. I don't remember what the last I saw, but it was something like 7% or 6% of aircraft in flight at any moment are 978, and at least in the US, and the adoption rate was actually pretty decent for these small aircraft owners. Basically, as they retrofit other stuff or as they rejuvenate and restore planes, a lot of people are opting in because the costs have become less to put it in your plane, and they're lighter. So everything's easier now than it was when they first kind of mandated this, and I think people are adopting it more. I definitely see a lot of small planes flying over me. In fact, I mentioned in Discord once that I've had to change my gain to a fixed gain on a high fix station because I don't know why, but the area around me and above me seems to be a hotbed for like training flights and stuff like that, little Cessnas, especially on the weekends. And what happens is if it's on auto, it keeps retraining the gain based on that really close traffic, and I'll lose some of the further traffic. So it's been a challenge to figure out the right gain and everything, but I definitely see all the little planes flying around all the time.
And then Happy Canadian asked if, similar to GeoNet, if we're looking to run incentives for areas needing coverage, like paying customer zone requests. So with some of the new contracts we have in the works and the new products coming out, this will be more relevant than it has been with ADS-B data in general, like the way we've done it so far, because so far it's been like, we need global coverage. It's not been so specific, we need coverage in this area. But with some of the contracts we're working on now, that will be much more relevant. So maybe. Because I think like what, Spexy, for example, I think their model, they're launching a token now, but they paid USDC in the past. I thought it was pretty cool because a customer comes in and says, we need this specific city mapped, and you have the contract, and then you can do essentially as a pure rev share based on the what the customer is paying, because you know that's going to be paid out by doing a specific behavior. So when we get more of those contracts in now, that would be easier to map out. Like, yeah, we're still working on the whole high fix ESD issues, so I can't comment on that now because we're talking to them to see what's going to happen there. And Big Rick, this number we put is not meant to serve as like the move forward looking ROI for anything. This is just what made sense for us at this time. So, again, it's optional. If it doesn't suit your needs right now, I totally get it. Let's see. Tiki Cow, have you considered a community direct token of the beta token? Buy. I'd be interested throwing a small amount. Okay, you mean Tiki Cow? Are you talking about like essentially like a pre-sale, like a public sale? Is that what you're referring to? But for community only? Just so I don't misunderstand it. But feel free to clarify so I can answer your question, just so I don't answer the wrong one. I'm scrolling, Mike. I'm just seeing what next question is.
Yeah, so am I. So PRLE was asking, what is stopping TG? Not enough coverage. I think that was answered.
Yeah. So Stefan GNS is asking, how does your sales funnel look like? So it depends on what product. So initially you sell raw data. We cannot market rate for this data for, if you look at the competition, is about $15,000 to $20,000 a month. We cannot get to market rate initially because we're the new player on the block. We have to start lower. So generally our contracts start at a few $1,000s a month, and they're going to go up over time. And then when they renew, contracts are generally 1 to 3 years. Then we'll be in a position after the initial contract term to actually charge market rate. But I don't want to spoil anything because we have some stuff we're demoing next week. We have some new stuff coming out here shortly. But we are releasing products for the customers to essentially increase the value or go up the stack a little bit. And that's going to be much more valuable and bring in a lot higher revenue per customer. Our sales funnel overall that we talk to customers, it's a few $1 million, but sales cycles are quite long. And that's, we're working on, we have some big ones that have been working on for almost 2 years that are now finally starting to come through. So all of this is kind of coinciding with like us needing to move TG because these things coming through before TG is very helpful. Early, what is stopping TG? Not enough coverage? No, so it's a few things. One is a few major thing that's coming in on the demand side that we want to come in before TG. A second thing is when we went through the conversations with exchanges, market makers, and so on, we learned new things along the way that essentially forced us to go, okay, well, we learned this new really interesting insight. With this new insight that now forces us to go back to the start and apply this new learning to all the conversations. And it's mainly because, it's really hard to navigate because it's very predatory. They try to get you every way they can. And for us to be able to set a very solid strategy that we feel like is sustainable, when we learn new things, we can't ignore them. We have to apply them backwards. And that's why we were just simply not ready. We had too many new things that we learned that we needed to apply backwards to make sure we're in a sustainable position at TG. So it's a mixture of things. Almantas want to know who Nika is. Nika is one of our awesome team members doing a bunch of cool stuff here with partnerships and marketing and all kinds of fun stuff. Wave says, high fixed devices are really bad. I got 7 of them and all failed, yet to get replaced. Why not start BOID again or something more robust devices on board? So we have some updates coming out on that as well. It has been very frustrating. I'm seeing the ESD adapters going out, but it's been frustrating. It's taking longer than we want. It's been not the best. So I hear you. We have stuff coming out on that.
As a quick follow-up to that, we're trying to also be proactive recently. members on our team have started creating tickets for people who may have not noticed that their station is not performing as expected. So that way we can communicate with them and see if it's an LNA issue or if it's just an install issue. We don't always know, but we see certain indicators that imply it may be an LNA issue. So we're trying to make sure that also no one's left behind, not realizing that their station is not performing the way it should. So I just wanted to call it out because I know somebody had posted about it last night in Discord, and the first response was basically like, "Oh, sounds like a scam. You're being reached out to. It's a scam. It's actually us." But if you ever are concerned that you're being contacted by a scammer or something, please reach out. Reach out in Discord since you're here, or reach out via the support chat on the site. If we've actually created a ticket for you, you'll probably notice that when you log into the site, as long as you're using the same email, which you should be, obviously, it should pop up and show that you have an open ticket. So that'll be one way to verify. Sorry, carry on. Low altitude reward questions.
Yeah. So yeah, we have been testing it for a long time now. So that's going to come also before TG. Stefan, do you plan to offer any next generation certified hardware for the project short and midterm? So I cannot go into details, but we have updates coming on the hardware side. Kakalos, where are you placing the launch date roughly? The thing is, we promised so many times or had in our mind that this is the day, but it's Q1. But again, I don't want to go in here and say this is guaranteed because we don't know what happens. But if we're so close, we have everything pretty much aligned. So, knock on wood, nothing else should have to come up that changes that.
But again, the goal is fundamentals. Make sure that we can sustain a token. Make sure we have utility. That should be the most important thing to actually everybody, because it's going to be of no use if we come out on TG and there's no sustainability and we ride the same wave everybody else does. We've got to do everything. Again, no promises of anything, but we still have to make our best effort, put our best foot forward and make sure that we're doing everything we can for this to succeed for everybody.
Yeah. 12 Monkeys asked if there's any benefit for not taking this option. I'd say the benefit is like whatever rewards you keep, they do get the 20% bonuses at TG, when you start TG. And again, I have no idea what's going to happen after TG. We're focused on the business fundamentals. If we do that correctly, where we think we're going now, hopefully that works out really well. I don't know at all where the token is going to be a few months from now. So, but the benefit is definitely the bonus. Gary, thank you. I appreciate the love. Yeah, Tiki, exactly. It's been really interesting, but also very challenging. Maneuvering through this whole TG process and all the things you need to line up. And yeah, it is very expensive, and it's very, very, it's very difficult because there's no playbook. Every project is different. Different type of TG strategies work differently for different projects. So we're not this big IP KOL, led project. We're actually building something real that we feel really good about. So we think the playbook maybe needs to be a little different for us than the standard Web3 IP playbook. Alfie, will Low Altitude be live on December 1st? I don't think so. That's too soon. Because what will be live on December 1st is this. You can decide if you want to participate in this event or not. That will go for 10 days. And so that's our highest priority to make sure works now. Takian, will you share where you need additional coverage to complete global coverage? Yeah, so we've, the main areas we're focusing now is Southeast Asia, Korea, Japan, Indonesia. We're focusing in MENA region like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Qatar. Then we need some more stations in like Kazakhstan and Mongolia, which are pretty tricky, but we're not far off, and we see now that we have stations going out into those regions, which is really exciting. So we haven't done any like super hexes or anything like that, but we have ran some stuff that works. So, and we're also working with some good companies in the different regions, from telco companies to traffic monitoring companies, to actually deploy some of these stations in the needed areas. So that's been working really well.
And just a note to that, keep in mind that based on the way the whole page rank calculation works and everything, it is still very beneficial to put up a station in a currently underserved area, one that does not have too many stations covering it. If you can be the sole provider of data, even better. But if you're one of just a couple, it just works out that way. So when you see blank areas on the map where you don't see planes, short of areas where planes just definitely don't fly anyway, if you can put a station there, you do essentially get multiple in rewards over, say, someone who's got a station in a reasonably saturated or reasonably covered area. So it's kind of built into the reward system now, but I understand what you're talking about with specific areas that we're targeting. But just to remind everybody, there's still areas out there that can get pretty solid rewards if you put something up.
Yeah. And then Crypto Bodul asked, what's our opinion on the BLA twist with Wingbits TG? I mean, I don't know the details. We reached out for comments and information. I don't understand what their rewards distribution has to do with RTG. They are not connected in any way, so I don't get that. But we reached out. We're waiting for them to tell us, because honestly, I have no idea. When will we add station rankings again? That is a good question.
Well, like mentioned before, the station rankings as they were at that point were kind of how unique or how important your data was to our network based on comparisons. Like if you have 5 other people submitting the same data, okay. If you have no one else submitting the same data, then that is very unique. And how would it impact our network if you were to just, turn your station offline? And those rankings were kind of cool, but I think people are looking for slightly different rankings. So we still have a rankings discussion going. Something will appear again in the future. No expectations right now of when or how. There's a lot on everybody's plate, and station rankings are super cool. I will say, as an interim solution for the best I could do, we do have a bot in Discord that's applying top 10% station rankings and giving you roles based on that, and also how many stations you have actively participating in the network. Making small little steps as we can, but obviously we've got to focus on the important stuff right now that gets us to the revenue generation to TGE, etc.
Let's see, Leos, any concerns on evasion of old small participant that didn't make the 15K Wingbits threshold? I think the way we looked at it is the people that were here super early, as long as you've had a device on, like they were all over the threshold. We felt like 15K was below the median, so it actually allows I think it's 60% almost of all participants to participate. Because our thought here was, if you just joined, it's still appreciated equally much. But TG is really not far away. Whereas if you joined 2 years ago, we mainly wanted to make sure that the people that have been putting in effort and money for a really long time could get something out. That's why we set the threshold. So we didn't, we had to set something. It wasn't viable to do everybody. Because if you have way less tokens than that, if you just joined, then it's really, probably in our mind, we didn't see it as the most efficient way of doing it. Not saying we're right or wrong, but we just had to make a decision. Rove asks, what's the strategy to expand the Middle East? Saudi Arabia, Egypt, are you willing to give free devices, for example? Thank you for your great efforts. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we have a bunch of partnerships down in the region. We have a head of expansion that is from the region. that is helping, that's been doing a great job. We're getting clearance from a government level for many of these areas. Not Egypt. Egypt, it is illegal, so we're excluding Egypt for now. Egypt and China do not allow you to capture flight data and equivalent and send out of the country. So right now we're mainly working with strategic partners in the area, but we will probably run some campaigns on the hardware side in those regions. And again, we're coming out with some updates on the hardware side as well, which will be helpful for that expansion. Tiki, what relationships are you building with other Web3 projects? For example, Timpi, search engine. So we have done, obviously quite a few partnerships on the Web3 side. It's a little bit difficult sometimes because there are some that on paper have good synergy, especially on the data side. So we have some great partnerships, but most of these projects are still pretty early. So these are more like long-term, we can actually work together from a distribution type partnership level. We can work together from a data, marketplace exposure type level and essentially monetizing the data. I've not heard of Timpi, but we're always looking to do more partnerships. I think, we also have to start being more and more careful with, when we do partnerships, that we have a good, solid understanding of like expectations. Like we want to do our project a certain way. The other projects needs to be on a values point of view aligned, so we don't have negative effects. Because as we saw, even though with the hardware, it's been frustrating. We wanted to not do our own hardware because we didn't want to be a hardware company. Obviously, it's created a lot of issues for people in here and for us. A lot of effort, a lot of cost. We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, even though we did make no money on the hardware. We don't manufacture it, just, to fix stuff. So it is pretty tricky with partnerships because I think we just need to do much more due diligence moving forward before we actually do partnerships on the Web3 side. Yeah, Happy Canadian, if you have good deployment locations around the world, please let us know. Eagle Eye, ground coverage rewards. When will they start to apply if near any Class C or D airport and ground traffic? So initially, only the airports that are visible on the map are eligible for the low altitude rewards. We may expand that later on based on customer requests. But I don't have an exact timeline, but we've had it tested now for a long time, like someone pointed out. So they will be live before TG. When it comes to Class C or D, I don't know at this point.
Hey, Grumpy, I think I can answer this.
Go for it.
So, Grumpy, good question, and something that we need to announce. Are you still in here, Grumpy? I saw him a second ago. Anyway, it's something we need to announce anyway, which is, and I'll make a formal announcement on this soon. It's come to the point where we have to make the smart moves for how certain historic data is working. And in doing that, we came to the conclusion that the percentages that you have applied to hosts will apply from TG forward. So for example, if you've had a station owner that you've been giving 20% prior to TG and you want to up it to 30% and you do that on TG, that those TGE payouts, the retroactive rewards, will be based on what you have live when we start TGE. So I'll come up with a better description, but to your point of how does this work, figure you have, let's just say an example, 100,000 tokens and you decide to do all 50%. I hope you don't, but if you do the whole 50%, that is just removed from the total. So the splits will still be proportional to the hosts. But I'll clarify everything, make sure I have the right terms from development and make sure that I communicate it soon, Grumpy. Something I've been meaning to deal with, and I do see you here.
Yeah, Mike. That's a very good question. It's an edge case, so Mike will sort that out. But yeah, thanks for answering that, Mike. Dorian said if we mentioned anything about new products. So we haven't mentioned specific products, but we have stuff coming out and some cool announcements, which is one of the main reasons we wanted to push TG. And again, I want to highlight this has nothing to do with market conditions. Like, I don't know what the market's going to do. This is only from a business fundamentals point of view and having all our ducks in a row when it comes to launch strategy with all the different parts that you have to align. So we'll come, cool stuff coming before TG for sure. Mugawari, I think this is the second question for 40 Sky. If we see him as a direct competitor or that could slow adoption of Wingbits, or they're different enough. So I don't see him as a direct competitor because they do a lot of different things. And, with the announcement we're coming out with before too long, will be very different. I like James, the founder. He's super nice. They have a good team. I think they're taking a little different path, that I think is good. But I think we can coexist in a really good way moving forward. So I don't see it as an issue. My main hope for Deepin in general is that there's enough companies that come in and manage to create enough demand side to become big sustainable businesses long term, and turn this whole perception that Web3 has, which is pretty poor outside of Web3, and we just need to have more real stuff. So hopefully they turn into that. Thank you, Khaled. I really appreciate the kind words, and yes, Janal is awesome. So I appreciate his work along with Mike and the rest of our team here for making the project amazing. And the one thing we're gonna do, I think a lot of this, like the TG push and delay, I think we've done, at least not so much from Mike and the community team, they've done a great job, but from my side, we need to increase our level of communication and just bringing everyone up to speed on what we're doing and the progress, because we do a lot of stuff and a lot of times we just fail to actually keep you guys involved, which is 100% my fault. So we'll do a better job on that. And starting Q1, we have some cool stuff starting as well to bring even greater transparency into what we're doing for the community so they can follow along in a much better way. So the crypto, I think you're asking if it's better to hold or not. I cannot answer that question, unfortunately. One, because I don't have a crystal ball, but if you believe in the project and you don't need anything now, personally, I probably would hold. But we wanted to give everyone the option because we also know that not everyone can just be on standby for a long time.
Happy Canadian. I can't answer you at this moment. As far as I know, let's just say I can't answer. I'm not sure. There's been 2 reports that we've looked at that are being investigated, but 100% not confirmed at this moment. Otherwise, everything else has fell directly inside of the range of serial numbers. And the good news is, ESD seems to be solving issues, and the new stations have been performing well. I know we've had, and I apologize to the few people that are affected here and there, we have had some issues with, glitches with the client or firmware on HiFix, and we're working through those and it's a learning experience, excuse me, each time. Like most recently, put out a new client that involved super amazing feature of being able to access your HiFix via Tailscale remotely if you've got it hosted somewhere else. But with that came a couple small gotchas that dev team had to work through. Big thanks. Some of them are lurking here now. It was a little bit problematic to figure it out and work through it, but we did. It's a learning experience, and now it functions as expected. I just made a post earlier on changelog that if you're on 180, the newest client, everything should be go again. The Tailscale works as far as TAR 1090. It was only affecting some people. It's based on memory and some other stuff, but I think we keep learning from these little gotchas, and we will carry that forward.
I guess a crypto bodle. Did you just answer that one, Mike, or do you have an answer to that one? But like, how do you know if a device is malfunctioning? I mean, if it's not within the serials, you don't need a ASP adapter.
ESD adapter. Yeah. If you have any questions, Crypto Bodal, just open a support chat on the site bottom right icon, and we can work it through with you.
Crypto G says he got a lot of friend requests, which are usually scammers. Yeah, I mean, I hate the scammer portion of the Web3. It's like there's a lot of people that are not in our servers that have someone essentially, I guess, just monitor the server, and they message from outside, and we can't do anything about it. So just be super mindful. We generally don't DM, so please always double check.
We do our best to keep them out, and then once they're found, we have multiple things now that are running that try to identify and kick them out. But Robin's correct. If they're outside, we can't control what someone names themselves outside of the server. There's a lot of people. I noticed someone the other day posted in Discord that had 2 different Max Wingbits contact them, not just one, 2 impersonators. Plus, I was apparently impersonated and contacted this guy as well. So poor person got 3 scammers all trying to reach out and get information from him. So be super vigilant.
Yeah. Yeah, Hack This and That says, I'm not an oracle, which is true. Buckup, will the Nubila proof of roof winners have to wait? On that one, I don't know. I don't know why, Nubila's rewards, I don't know why it's tied to RTG at all. I'm waiting for answers from them. I don't get it. I have no idea. I think it makes no sense. Cello, I know you can't talk about specific customers, but can you tell us how many there are as of now? It's about a dozen right now. We have some more we're gonna announce publicly soon, but the ones we've announced, I can talk about publicly. There will be some coming, but yeah, about a dozen we have now live. Adrian asks, will Wingbits have the capability to detect drones like 4D Sky? So we have the remote ID receiver in all the devices. We literally just have not turned it on. So for the US market, we will turn that on. That can detect drones on remote ID. Or other markets, based on when they actually regulate a specific frequency for a drone, like UK did 978. Underneath the device, there's upgrade slots. If we need specific devices to be upgraded to specific frequencies, they will receive an upgrade kit. So yeah, we can do drones. We can do a lot of things if we want to upgrade the devices, and that's all based on customer requests. Berg says, is there already a timeline for relaunch of low altitude bonuses? It will most likely be within the next 30 days, something like that. I don't want to promise for the tech team, but 30, 45 days at most, because we've had it running and testing for a while, and it works. So right now it's just push it out, really. But I'm not a dev, so I'll probably, generalize a lot, but it's not far off.
Yeah, I will say that there's definitely still a visual component that needs to be worked on. While the data is sound, I think right now, if we wanted to finish it and push it out, it's a visual component. So if you went to the map, you could see like what area. I mean, obviously we show airports, but our goal would be to show the area around the airport that is being monitored or eligible for those rewards. So there's still a visual component. We have not dropped it off of our radar at all. No pun intended.
Yeah. And Eagle Eye asked if the MGW310 with GeoNet doesn't cover the drone and robo market. So it's 2 different use cases. So GeoNet allows drones to use their stations as navigation reference points from a GPS point of view, whereas we will track them to show where they actually are. So it's 2 different things. So we do not provide, the RTK service. That's on GeoNet, whereas we will just track them through remote ID or different frequency based on market. Grumpy said yes, but I think that maybe to your earlier answer, Mike.
Yeah, we're still like 10 minutes behind in the chat. We're catching up.
Yeah, I have a little more time, so I'm trying to catch up here. I will check out Timpy, Tikika. DROP, we haven't announced the exact date, but Q1 is where we moved it to. Tomber says hold. Thank you, Tombers. Thank you, Green Llama. Appreciate it. Rendezvous, when it comes to a specific exchange, I can't say, but when it comes to being tradable in general, Q1. Tailscale Tailscale is good. Recommend everyone having it. Gotcha. Go ahead, Mike. We're gonna say something?
I was just gonna say the same thing. Gotcha. Is there any update on the Wingbits team? Have you grown in numbers? Stayed the same? You comment on numbers. I got a comment after that.
Yeah, we've grown a lot. I don't know if you saw the little. There was I think I posted on Twitter because one of our guys made like a nice little graphic, like a 8-bit type of figures of the team. I think we're 21 now in total. So split between obviously main headquarters in Sweden, where all the engineering side is, and about 60% of the team in the office here, and the rest is spread all over the world based on some in North America, some in Europe, some in Asia area, APAC. So yeah, it's definitely grown quite a bit.
I didn't know that we had posted it online somewhere. If it's cool, then it'd probably be worthwhile posting it on our Discord.
Yeah,
just the image.
And then Green Llama says Coinbase will cost a fortune. Actually, Coinbase and Kraken are free, so they don't charge anything to list. Usually, maybe they require something, something else. Obviously, if you build on Base, it's easier to get listed on Coinbase. But I like Coinbase and Kraken. I think they more list on, if they like the project, they will list you. Obviously, most exchanges care about trading volume, but so at least that's nice. Thank you, Happy Canadian. But yeah, I mean, we do. People, it's a long time, so hopefully for some people this initiative will be helpful. And we understand it's not like a perfect solution for everybody, and everybody maybe would prefer a different outcome. But we do think this is in our mind, a fair middle ground for now. Thank you, Eagle Eye. Yeah, we've built in the other companies I built in the past, and based on what people do in general. Some people tend to go maybe more like getting a lot of employees and go more junior. We're actually gone very, very senior. On the engineering team, we have a majority of them come from, very, very good companies like, Amazon or AWS or Spotify or Klarna, and a lot of them are very senior. So several, principal engineers, senior engineers. And we think that's actually worked really well because it's so complex what we're doing from, there's an embedded development aspect in it, to data, to storage, to blockchain. There's just a lot of pieces. And having a really senior engineering team has allowed us to essentially deal with stuff, even if it's outside of what they've done in the past. So that's been really good. Rendezvous, we're not actively hiring now, but with some of the stuff coming in, we're probably going to hire a little bit for some positions, mainly engineering, I think, during early Q1. You're welcome, Cello. Appreciate you being here. Wave says replacements of faulty devices needs to be more streamlined and hassle-free. 100% agree. It's been, it's been not good. So I feel you, and I agree. On overcrowding, we haven't put in a specific plan right now. If we see that it's unsustainable completely, we will have to do something. But again, with the stuff that's coming, with the additions and we have some cool stuff coming. We don't see. We hope that overcrowding will not be an issue, but we don't know yet. We know in some areas now it is a little overcrowded. Buck up. So it's. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, not looking at you, London or New York at all.
Yeah, some areas are overcrowded. We're aware. So we may have to do something. But we don't have anything at this moment. So Backup asks if China and Egypt ban only for terrestrial data. You can use satellite data, but the one satellite we launched was more from a proof of concept, trying to validate cross-check data, which works. But if you launch, you need to launch a lot of satellites to have continuous coverage. Probably need 60, to have within 7.5 minutes update rate, or each plane within every 7.5 minutes. 60 satellites is a lot. And right now, when we're looking at it, we cannot make the unit economics make sense for strictly that data. So that's why we haven't launched more, because it's just, if we're going to take a big expense and involve the community in something, it also needs to have a financial kind of angle to it where we can actually monetize it highly enough to justify it. And we haven't gotten to that point yet. But yeah, we could technically get China and Egypt from satellites. That's how other people do it. Thank you, Tiki Cow. Appreciate you being here. You know what, Buckup, to be honest, I don't know what the dynamic protection area zones are. So if you can explain to me what they are, I'm actually not sure what they are. Mike, do you know what that is?
No.
Yeah. I don't know of it. I just know some regions we cannot deploy from a legal point of view. But please, educate me more, and then I'll try to answer. Thank you, Sharp Harp. I appreciate it. I mean, I know the stages, the last two have been pushed a little bit. Obviously, we need to push this because we need to finalize this. But we'll do a better job of communicating more frequently about what's happening behind the scenes, rather than just maybe once a month or so. I think you guys deserve a little more up-to-date information. So we'll work on that. Yeah, we like Backup mentioned Wi-Fi DABA. Yeah, I did a little podcast with them the other day, so I think that's going to come out at some point. Sorry, I did not do it with them. I confused them, but I like Wi-Fi DABA. They're a cool business model, and I like the Discord. So I'll check it out. Maybe we can get some good learnings as well. And for all you guys, obviously we get feedback all the time, which is super appreciated. But feel free to anything you feel like we need to do better. You're expecting a different level of maybe communication information, let us know and we'll do all we can. Yeah, thanks for the feedback, Eagle Eye. Yeah, I mean, we're hoping that it gets better and better over time, and because it's been definitely some hiccups. Rendezvous, you can send if you send an email to hi@wingbits.com with some information, I'll take a look at it.
We're just over an hour at this point.
Yeah, it's fine. I have a few more minutes, and then because I have a meeting in half an hour that I gotta commute to. I think, Europe, it may be best for you to open a support ticket so we can look at it, because unless, Mike, you have a different opinion, but it's kind of hard to know right off the bat because there's so many edge cases. So if you can open up support ticket, we'll take a peek.
Yeah.
Okay, Backup. Thank you for the explanation. So DPA zones are areas that military needs direct control of transmitters or dynamic turn them on and off, avoid interference. So interference is actually good with ours since they're receiving only, so we don't have any interference. But we are working with some interesting projects now more for that angle. So we haven't done anything in this segment yet. So I don't have more information, but we are in some conversations now that are interesting, that are more touching upon this. So as I learn, then I can get back to you if we have any issues.
Quick shout out to the people in Wingbits that are here. I did see 6 at one point. And Savannah. Hey, Savannah. Max, Sean, Chris, Aaron.
Yeah, the team has been pellet there too. I doxed him.
It's hiding.
Yeah.
Nika.
Yeah. Doxing everybody in the team. Cool. Well, I can do 6 more minutes. Then I actually have. So any last minute questions, please post them in the chat. But I really appreciate it. I mean, obviously, maybe it was not the good reason why, but we had over 100 people today in the stage, obviously with the announcement. But it's fun to see so many people, and thank you for all you 72 that are still here after a long time. Backup, are there any plans to use the weather data more? So probably it is in the roadmap, because you can actually, we get weather data from our flight data as well. So you can actually use it for some weather-related stuff, which is super cool, and we're now finding some nice use cases for it. But combining it with weather data for specific use cases could be pretty interesting. The question is just what type of weather data. Like if you look at hyper-localized weather data, that may not be super valuable to combine with our data unless it's by the airport specifically and it's low altitude and the stations are by the airport. But really what you need is obviously the weather at the different altitudes throughout the flight, and you can combine that for a bunch of different optimization stuff. So yeah, we will, in the future, we'll definitely use weather data more. We're not going to ingest it ourselves, but we'll get it from somewhere else to combine with ours. Yeah, thanks, Durap. Yeah, please open a ticket and we'll look. Massacre, if you can contact Yanal. He's the head Habibi for MENA region. Yeah. Sharp Harp with the Nubila partnership, what is planned down the line? Is there possibility of a dual token mining rewards? So we haven't thought about that. Mainly, actually, like they do have a really good weather network, Nubila, and they have really big, large scale from a weather point of view, and good miners. So it was more from a data distribution partnership that we're looking at that, not so much from the dual miner. Backup, any plans for an iOS app? So I don't think we have any plans currently for like the B2C competition angle versus Flight Radar, but for an app, definitely there's a plan for it. We haven't been able to do it yet simply because it's hard to prioritize. We have so many things. An app in the future could serve a lot of purposes for us. I mean, it could make onboarding way easier. Like if you just onboard a station through the app instead of having to do all the hard stuff. So there could be some cool. I mean, I have a bunch of ideas for an app, so it will come, but I have no idea timeline, so I don't want to promise anything. But yeah, app will come at some point.
Cello. Yes, in very, very, very limited quantities. Reach out via support chat if you need to talk about it.
Yeah, if you already have a geosigner and it breaks, we can fix that. So reach out. Yeah, I'm gonna look into Timpy, Andy. I actually don't know what it is, so I'll check it out.
I think a lot of people have asked in the past, why don't we have the information on chain, or why aren't we doing a partnership with someone else for storing all that data? And I think in its raw form, that would be extremely challenging, obviously, because the amount of data that Wingbits consumes, ingests from stations, contributors daily is ginormous. That's a technical term, ginormous. So it probably would never go on a blockchain directly, but I've seen people ask questions of us and others like, could you put hashes so that it refers to the data and stuff like that? So interesting thoughts for the future.
And on the drone tracking for DIY units, the way they're set up right now, I wouldn't say so, but it would have to be an upgrade kit for them to track drones, especially if it's outside the US and it needs different frequencies like 978 or whatever countries may regulate. Professor Hot Dog, that's funny, asks if there's any info on how the partnership with 375 AI might work. So initially is a similar thing. Some of the customers that buy flight related data, they also buy traffic data, mainly in the financial industry and insurance. So it would be initially a good distribution type partnership where we can actually monetize each other's data. So kind of both projects would benefit. And then later on, there's more cool info on how that may partake in what we're doing. So, but that's part of the announcements coming out later on, which would be pretty exciting.
You're at your time limit.
I am at my time limit. Just the one thing I want to say, I know, people are excited about I wish I could tell more stuff, but there are some really cool stuff coming out. In my mind, it's well worth the wait to do this. I'm not saying that lightly because I know people are ready for the launch, but it's going to be good. That this push is very necessary. When are you coming back live again? I guess, Mike, we can try to do another one maybe late next week or early the week after would be doable for me. So we'll do another one since the announcement came kind of late before too long. We're not gonna wait a month. But meanwhile, obviously, please send any questions. I gotta hop off, but I really, really appreciate everyone staying so long, being part of the project. I'm super, super excited about where this is going. And 2026 is going to be extremely exciting. I'll say that much.
Agreed.
But thanks, everybody. Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Mike, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone from Wingbits, to be here for the support.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.